I'm here to talk to you about the fascination of having a physical body. It's called Sthula Sharir, the gross covering. You can appreciate that when the sperm and the egg comes together in the womb of the mother, that an embryo is formed. The beginning of the human, the gross human. And for that 9-month gestation period, that body is developing in the mother. The body cannot develop without a host, a soul being hosting it. So whilst it's being developed, it's in the mother's womb, and you see the mother womb, the belly begins to expand as the baby grows. So you can think of the changes that are going to happen in the mother and how stressful that can be at times. And just the coming out of the baby through a small opening, oh my God. All praises to the mothers for bringing us into the world. All of us would have come through that same opening. That's why that in the Hindu tradition, that opening is considered to be sacred. It's the yoni, it's the opening that the newborn comes out. That's why in the lingam and yoni, we see this. We see the sacredness of the yoni that holds the lingam. And we see the lingam, which is the generating organ of the male. So though it may seem to be primal kind of worship, but it isn't. It is worshipping the sacred forces of nature. The lingam and the yoni, and it's shown in the lingam. That's how I see it. Generative power and the womb that holds creation. When you can see the lingam and the yoni from that point of view, it's amazing. You don't think in the limitations of the consciousness, you think in the expansion of consciousness. That everything, you see the beauty of nature at work. So a soul being needs to host that little baby embryo that is growing and developing, and it's amazing the growth and development in the womb. Now we can see the pictures in there, and we see that amazing development. And finally, after the 9-month period, and sometimes before in some people, and sometimes a little later, that little baby wants to come out. Because it's moving, it's growing, it's maturing, and it wants to come out. And then we have the contractions in the mother to push it out. Nature at work. And then finally, when it's coming out, it needs a host. But that's designed by the karmic plan already. A soul is already chosen for that. That soul has been attracted to the parents, associating with the parents, and just waiting to go into that little newborn. So when it's coming down the birth canal, the soul is preparing for entry. And when that baby comes out, it needs the host. The soul better get in there. Because if it doesn't, it loses its opportunity. The child is stillborn, no prana. But when there's a successful entry into the body, wow! Little baby is there, oh my God. Our hearts to get a leap of joy. There's a little baby in the house. Well, in the old days, that was done at home. And we would all be excited about this little baby coming. The baby is now, the soul is now, the subtle body is now using its pranas now in this little body. This little body, the brain is so compromised. Everything is young. So the soul has lost all its ability to manifest intelligence in the body. So the body's intelligence continues. The baby, as you know, grows, and the soul begins to manifest more and more. And at a certain age, some people a little longer, some people a little slower, we begin to see the soul qualities. And then we begin to see the genetic influences of the baby itself. You see some of the mother's traits, some of the father's traits, some of the grandmother's traits, or grandfather, or way back. You begin to see through the genes expression, you begin to see the qualities. And then the karmic qualities are also inside of there. The soul patterns that it brought. So it's fascinating. So we may sometimes call this body that we have a suit of clothes. Bhagavad Gita calls it a suit of clothes. But it's not exactly like a suit of clothes. The Bhagavad Gita refers to it as something that you wear, that the soul, in its subtle nature, wears. That's why it calls it a suit of clothes. But it's not exactly a suit of clothes that you can. Suit of clothes has no life. The body has organic life, intelligence. Every cell in its nucleus has a DNA wrapped up in there. And that is the intelligence of the body. That is what governs the whole body. And we have a certain amount that is the genes, the replication of the body, and there is the DNA above the genes called epigenetics ones, and they are the switches for the genes. They can turn genes on and off. So we can change our ancestral genes if we know how to, through the science of epigenetics. And then there is the rest, the 98% beyond these. And they are what is responsible for our individual habits. While coffee will work for some and coffee will not work for some, while different foods will work for some and it will not work for some, the 98% gives the difference. Some people will eat all the sugars and starches, no diabetes, and then others are very susceptible to it because they carry the genes that are compromised. So it's fascinating, the science of genetics. So this body that we wear is a living entity with an intelligence of its own. And so the soul, when you really begin to see or experience that the body is different to you, that requires a spiritual awakening. When you really begin to realize the body is different to you, you begin to think, oh my God, how do I manage this body? The body has such prime instincts that it has a reptilian brain, so it can behave like a reptile. There's an emotional brain, the limbic brain, so it begins to show all kinds of emotions. And it has a neocortex, which gives it the intellectual intelligence. So when we don't stimulate the neocortex and we're operating reptilian and limbic, you see the behavior in the world. So developing soul awareness helps us to use the entire brain in a better way, and also to invoke the 98% of the DNA to create whatever we want, beyond genetics. So we can go beyond the genetic influence and create the individuality. So the body is amazingly fascinating. That's why I'm so caught up in body thinking and awareness. And in the meditation, I'm trying to tell you, no, try to understand your body. Even Shiva is saying, Pindam Kundalini Shakti. In the Pinda, the body, is the Kundalini. Wake up to it. It will open your consciousness. So we chant that every day, but we don't fully appreciate the depth of what he's saying. And he said the Padam is that breath. It's a Hamsa. Hamansa, Hamansa, Hamansa. And when you grow in awareness, you change it to Soham. Because Hamansa means that the body is governing, the physical is governing. The Sa is the universe, and the Hum. The Hum comes first, the Hamsa, because you are governed by the body. The Hum, your consciousness is body consciousness, so that's Hum. The Sa seems to be outside for us. But it's reversed in spiritual awakening. You begin to feel the body's inside, so that it becomes the So. The Sa is inside now, and the Aham is on the outside. And that is when the spiritual awakening becomes. That's why the Soham mantra becomes the important thing for the seeker. To move away from the Hamsa to the Soham. Awareness. So it's important to understand the nature of the body because we are driven by primal influence. When you see people get angry, uncontrolled, you know they're driven by the nature of the body, the animalistic nature of the body, the reptilian brain. When they become territorial, reptilian brain. You look at the animals, they're territorial, they're beastly, they fight each other, they're survivors in nature. Is that how you want to be? You carry a soul. You're just more than, they carry souls too, but they don't have the consciousness. They don't have the power of the neocortex. They don't have this bigger upper brain. So they struggle. Early man, the humanoids, the early ones, their brain was different. They didn't have the neocortex so fully developed. If you look at their faces, you will see bigger jaws and more reptilian part of the brain rather than the upper part. When you begin to look at the development of the humanoid, you see later on the head changes at the neocortex. And then, of course, when we show aliens, we show a big head. You have a big neocortex that's governing. Because we think they're so brilliant, right? And they probably are. They have more evolved brains than we have. And then you see in the early days when the humanoid was different, all they could think about is making spears and the ordinary implements to use. They didn't have the consciousness. The hunter-gatherers, they didn't have the consciousness. And over time, as a human being evolved, the humanoid evolved, you see more and more creativity, and we're still growing in that. Because you see how much knowledge has been changed over the years, over the decades. So, for example, chemo and chemotherapy is now still a crude way. In fact, the whole medical system, allopathy, it's all about the body, not about the subtle body inside. Except if it's an ancient system of Ayurveda or Chinese medicine, that's where you see the whole body is concerned and the subtle energy is considered. And those are the superior forms, but we have to interpret them now in terms of modern science because now we know more about the body than those days. So medical science has to undergo a revolution, and it has begun because now the rebel doctors, the radicals, and they show us now all the faults of the system, and they're going back now to the ancient models, which is beautiful. They begin to realize now how good those ancient models were. Like when Hippocrates, the father of the modern medicine, allopathy, says, let thy food be medicine and let thy medicine be food. Today we are appreciating that more and more. That food has such an impact on our health. And we have totally gone away, straight away from nature. Oh my God. We were all born in that conventional way of just eating totally processed things. And you can think about the children who are born today, how much processed food they're eating. We don't need isolates when nature has all the cofactors. Why do we need to take out the protein from the food? Why can't we eat the whole grain? Why are we taking over the enzymes from the vegetables? Why can't we chew the vegetables? Because the mouth was made to masticate the vegetables, not swallow. Because we add all these appetizers and sweet things and we're eating very quickly. No, you need a relationship with the food. It's such a joy for me to eat. And the more I become conscious of this, the more I want to lay back and enjoy every morsel of my food and enjoy all the whole grain things and all nature's sweets. They're the most beautiful fruits in nature. Why would I want to eat the cakes and desserts and all that? No. Nonsense. Give me nature's delights. And nature has all the medicines. So the body is well taken care of by nature. If only we would listen to nature like the ancient people did, the indigenous people did. Today we have strayed far away from nature. So if only you can see your body with fascination. If only you will learn how to operate this human body in such a beautiful way. You know the movie The Avatar, right? That is a closer way of having to enter this body that is so different. That's how we enter this body. But of course, the movie doesn't have it, the truth of it completely. It has an idea. But when the knowledge arises in your mind, when the awareness arises within you, it's a fascinating thing. That's what I'm enjoying now. No, I'm treating my body with such respect and with such love and admiration and fascination for what nature has created. I'm more careful about what I eat. I eat for vitality. I understand more about the food from the science of Ayurveda. Ayurveda means the science of life, knowledge about life, about the Ojas, Prana, and Tejas. So it's beautiful to know that behind food there is what is called Ojas, the subtle essence of the food. So you see foods that are processed, where the Ojas has gone. When you eat the raw food, they have more Ojas. And when you protect the reproductive fluids in the body, they have a lot of Ojas in them when you tap into their energies. But if you abuse them, misuse them, then what are you doing with your Ojas? And when the Ojas is utilized well, it turns into the prana, the beauty of the prana, extra buzz that you have in the body, and the tejas, the shine of good health. And then the body is influenced by the circadian rhythm, by the sun, by the appearance and disappearance of the sun. When there is darkness, the body operates different. When there is light, the body operates different. So when you are eating in the darkness, when the body is not accustomed to that kind of thing, your soul, in its ignorance, creates the eating cycle for the night. No, don't do that. Eat with the sun. In Ayurveda, that routine is called dinacharya. And if you study the inner energies, because we have a sun and a moon, you have a circadian rhythm that operates from the inside through the meridians. And you see the meridians empowers the different organs in different parts of the clock, the meridian clock. And it's beautiful, the Ayurvedic circadian rhythm and the Chinese meridian. They're almost in sync, so you see the beauty of ancient wisdom. And that's how I regulate my daily routine. Going to bed or waking up. And it's beautiful, it's absolutely beautiful. I wish I could help you to understand this thing. Then you would live differently. Then your meditations will be different. That's what I did in my meditation. You know, I settle on the inside and I begin to open up the brain space and enjoy the ecstasy of the brain. And then I look at my body. And then I'm thinking, how do you want me to nourish you? Which chakra should I nourish? And then I go look at all of them. And I begin to nourish them, right into the end of the meditation. And then I did alternate nostril breathing just to make sure I have the left and the heating and cooling cycle in balance. And it's so nice for the body. If only you could think about your physical body as being special and want to have a long health span. You don't want to shorten your health span through poor lifestyle. And just to say that here in the Blue Star, we are going to support that. That's why I have the eco farm and I have a eco garden here. The eco is important. Our entire wellness center and health store and health cafe is designed to support your well-being. This whole ashram is designed to support your well-being. The temple is made for the meditations. The guest house is made for those who want to come and retreat and to rehabilitate And the kitchen is designed to support. And I protect this, we protect this place continuously through sadhana. So every day here, there's the chanting, there's the meditation, there's the exercise, there's a routine. So when you come here, the energy of the place is different. It's clean. You go outside and you see what the energy is like. The moment you come into the ashram, it's clean energy. And that's what I felt in my guru's ashram in India. And I have maintained that same routine here. That was the one place in India that I felt in those days when I was there. Felt, oh my God, this is heaven. I don't want anywhere else except here. I roamed through in there then, but I came back and settled there. This is my home. And now, this is like Ganeshpuri. This is the peace. Yeah. So I wish you'd listen a little bit to what I'm saying. I pray always that you will really accept my message as I mean it to be. Not a misinterpret, not a misuse, not to go and say, no, this Guruji said that you should do this. No. Each individual is different. Please, let everybody work with their 100% DNA as individuals and let their soul express itself through that. Don't try to copy somebody else. It may not work for you. And sometimes I'm giving somebody an instruction and somebody overhears and they want to practice that. No, don't practice what I'm... Confirm with me first. Because what I'm giving is highly individualistic. And if I come here and give you a practice, it's because we all can do it. So that's my message on this Sunday. Let's give attention to total well-being. The body is important. It's more than just a suit of clothes. It's more than just a vehicle that you can drive. No, it's a living being driven by a nucleus of DNA that makes you highly individualistic. But it needs a host, your soul. And your soul needs to be more aware if you're to drive it without destroying it. All our hospitals are because of that. If we were in a better yoga, we wouldn't have hospitals. We wouldn't need them. You know, the Hunzas in the mountains of Pakistan somewhere, Himalayas. The Hunzas had no hospitals, and they had no policemen. They had no police. Why? Because they live according to nature, drinking the glacial water, eating the pure food, and when the seasons, they couldn't get, they fasted. When they couldn't eat so much because of the seasons, they fasted. So very healthy people. But now I'm not sure if a McDonald's is not there. Western life has taken up with everybody. All these ancient cultures, you see it in India, you see it in China, you see it everywhere. Oh my God. Heaven help. We need a greater awakening of what the truth is and not to be captured by the primal nature of the human, but the most sublime nature of the soul that expresses through the human. So I'm going to continue with these conversations throughout the year. We're going to be into the life purpose. That's important because I want you to be driven by your life purpose. And I want you to maintain total well-being. That is about the body, the well-being of the mind, the emotional being, the soul. And to also evolve in consciousness through the karmic play. So this year is going to be full of excitement. And I'm working very hard on co-creating the space here with everybody, co-creating the space here to welcome all those of you who will come to do sadhana with us. I'm not sure about foreign travel, because when I go, it's just for a short period, a few days or a week. And I meet a certain amount of people. It's beautiful for Darshan, but I think of the greater value they will get by coming here and being with us in this very strong environment that have, over so many years, have been nurtured. So that's my plan. Great speaking to you as always. My prayer always is, may your consciousness be awakened to more of who you are or what you are. And may you thrive, fulfilling your life purpose. Have a blessed Sunday, everyone. And Happy New Year. Namaskar.